So anyway,
So hold on. I'm gonna do a. How many followers do you have?
oh, none.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm gonna do a giveaway. So, these are one of the first prototypes of my shoes that are custom made out of Italy. So whoever I'm gonna do for your followers and my followers, but
Woo!
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter who, which one, but whoever gets us 1,000 followers on YouTube.
1,000 followers.
Yeah, so you can do lives too on your YouTube.
Yeah.
They get a free pair of these custom made, handmade, personally designed by me.
Yeah.
Basketball with alligator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real alligator.
Yeah.
Shoes.
Yeah.
For free. So.
Well, look, I'm just going to record on this on Instagram here on my story. So I'm going to put the phone over here so people can see. Okay. But just repeat what you said then, and I'm going to put it on my story so other people can come over. Okay.
So you see these, you guys?
Yeah. So what? Go.
Oh, so this is my company, Drip Alchemy. So whoever gets us 1,000 followers,
yeah,
email me,
yeah.
Okay, and 1,000 followers, they will get a free pair of custom-made Drip Alchemy Italian shoes.
Okay,
not made in China.
Yeah.
Made.
So free shoes made in Italy.
Yes.
Yeah, alligator skin.
Yes.
From Drip Alchemy. That's it. There we go.
Okay.
Wow. 1,000. I think I've got 200. I've got 205.
Yeah. Well, these are $500 shoes.
I've got yeah. I've got 205 and one strike left on my YouTube.
Whatever. Okay. So, well, hopefully we don't get kicked off, but I do thank you for reminding me. As we start this particular communication here on YouTube, I'm actually servicing everyone, and not only everyone, more importantly, I'm servicing a public service announcement to YouTube, that this public service announcement is a message in public interest, dissemination without charge, and is objective of raising awareness of and changing public attitude and behavior towards social issues. So if any of these particular videos are taken off of YouTube or striked, that would be a federal crime. So, well,
they're only removing specific videos if they go against a specific organization. That's
why I just gave them a public service announcement.
Yeah, and it's anything that goes against
to remove.
Yeah, anything that goes against Doctor Who. So as long as we don't talk about Doctor Who, we should be okay. And we're not going to talk about we're not going to talk about Doctor Who.
Of course.
What are we going to talk about?
Well, I mean, I know that we discuss a lot off of these podcasts, but a few things that have really been bothering me as of lately has been inflation.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to real estate, because I do have a background in real estate.
Yep.
And some of the logic behind it. We are more than aware that over the last 18 months that a narrative has been pushed on us, whether it's real or not. It's been a narrative, and it's put a lot of very passionate people out of business, and it's made a lot of individuals lose their livelihood, so on and so forth. But on the other end of the spectrum, we have heard on the narrative that a majority of individuals have passed. So if a majority of individuals or humans or family members have passed away, and 18 months later, now there's a housing crisis and prices are higher, excuse me, I'm curious why people continue to push this narrative. Not only push the narrative for the media, but push the narrative in the respect that if there's a housing crisis and we have more dead people than ever, how do the numbers add up there?
Right.
So again, this is something that I'd like to discuss on the end of why nobody is paying attention to that simple logic and why people are continuing to push the inflation through the words of the media. I would like your thoughts, and of course, anybody can comment below.
Okay. Well, I mean, my thoughts is everything that appears to be happening is to suit something mid to long term. So this is what I kind of believe that's obviously happening. Number one, you've definitely got the rise of China being the global superpower. At the moment, China is literally number 2 when it comes to being a global superpower. Now, America is number 1. Now, the global trade currency or reserve currency of the world is the US dollar. So if you want anything within the trade internationally on a global scale, it's the US dollar. And, you know, it's like that argument that always happened when it comes to Middle Eastern oil and the agreement that the American corporation has with the Saudis that you've got to use the US petrodollar for the trade currency or whatever. If you get what I'm saying, it's probably not accurate to say if I called it the petrocurrency, but anyway, so you've got that. Now, the third or the military industrial revolution has sort of pushed and formed, say, the capitalist, right, or capitalism, which has sort of been corporation greed, which has then sort of drived the market up in a to say that that to suit the population and the corporations and capitalism, that for sustainability and resources, that it's impacted the planet. So, you know, I think tuna fish are nearly almost extinct. You know, we got to farm trout or salmon, you know, trying to catch wild. So
I asked a question. None of that stuff is relative to the basics.
I'm about to get there. I'm almost there.
Good,
give me. No, I'm just dragging on. I'm just trying to give you, instead of me answering it, I'm just going to explain why I feel that will be the answer. So my point being is when it comes to capitalism I believe is the now argument when it comes to climate change, and not climate change because the sun's heating the planet or because the planet's heating up. Climate change meaning sustainability. So when it comes to sustainability and you attach itself to capitalism and you attach itself to what is America and why is America the superpower, well, then you'll then go, okay, well then the next sort of number 2 to rise is socialism, which would then be orchestrated by communism, which would then overtake capitalism. So to do that, there's only one way to do it. Cause inflation, collapse the US dollar, send them all broke, and then come up with a solution. So the solution will be a socialist way of life. That's what the inflation, I believe, is for. And I believe because it all happened last year with the printing of the money, because that's why I started looking into crypto, because what I heard was the fact that once the government starts to print out money and then the banks go broke, that then the government takes over the banks, and then that way you've got socialism. And then if you look at the attack between the Americans and the Chinese, to me that makes sense. So that's why I believe the inflation thing that they're pushing, whether that kind of answered your question, but then, you know, fire away and tell me your thoughts. But that's just kind of what I sort of put together in a bigger picture of where this is all heading and why they are forcing inflation. There you go.
Okay, so you think because they printed more money that there's inflation?
No. I feel that they're
For lack
just
of a better word.
well.
I
Look,
mean, because anybody that doesn't understand that America owns China and has owned China for a number of years, and this whole socialism project was started on China, that China is not actually our enemy. It's an it's an ally in the sense
the boogeyman.
The corruption actually started in the United States of America because Americans, back when you go to the gold standard, so on and so forth. I know that we could get into we'll get into that in another conversation, so I don't get off on a tangent on that, but that we have birth certificates and all those things, and that we have more land that is attributed to cows than there is actual American citizens, and we are considered chattel, which is the same thing as cattle in the Latin language. Do you understand?
Yeah. I hear that. Yeah, it's interesting.
And that America is probably actually, you know, there's the land of the free. Yeah, but when you don't understand that there's two declarations, and that the court system here is probably one of the most corrupt, if depending on who's fighting for it per se, more corrupt than Mexico, and Mexico is more of a land of the free than America is. I think people are sorely mistaken that, for one, America doesn't own China, because if you looked at, I know you don't live here, so it's different when you look at your tags, but if you look at your tags from basically anything that's in your room, or it's all made in China.
Yeah.
Why is it? Yeah. So, and those individuals are doing things for 10 cents an hour being shipped over here, and then we're buying them for multiple amounts of money. So for one, inflation, well, you have to think about, okay, if China's the second superpower, how the hell are we buying things from people that are doing things for 10 cents or making products for 10 cents an hour in sweatshops? Sending it over here, we're buying it, we're perpetrating like we're Americans. Then we're sitting there claiming a bunch of people died in a pandemic that I'm not saying COVID doesn't exist, excuse my words. I'm not saying that the sickness doesn't exist. However, I know that they didn't stop production on cars because people got in car accidents and caused inflation in that respect. So the fact of the matter that somebody's printing money on a fake system that doesn't exist, on top of the fact that they're buying things for cents on the dollar, so the inflation always existed anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I as I said, when you asked me, like, I mean, I just look, when it comes to monies and stuff like that, I don't really understand. I hear a lot of people talk about, you know, bonds and inflation and deflation and this and that, but I just can't get my head around, you know, exactly what. But yeah, the only way I, you know, can break it down is like, you print more money, you know, you raise the taxes, you slow down production.
You know that the Federal Reserve Bank in downtown Los Angeles burns and shreds about $8 million a day. Goes straight into the trash, like taken out, like in ash, in downtown Los Angeles. So my point in all of this, and bringing these particular points up, it's not to obviously debate with you, it's to give awareness to not only the people of America, but to the people of the world, that the dollar per se, yeah, okay, everything's traded against the dollar because it's known as the highest currency, fine, whatever. But inflation is complete bullshit. Why? Because the last 40 plus years, they had no problem burning $8 million a day that they put little codes on that if I had $100 bill, which I wish I would have brought to this particular podcast, actually says on it, not for legal tender. And that gets me into then the dynamics of the birth certificate, the social security card being known as chattel, and your birth certificate being traded on the stock market, so on and so forth. So the fact of the matter that people are buying into the narrative of inflation, it's not only insulting to us as the humankind, they're playing into the, again, another narrative of what Project Mockingbird, whatever the hell you want to call it, is basically mocking at you because there's no inflation. Well, I mean, so that they're obviously just throwing that projection out there. So when the ship sinks, because I mean, we all know that they want to roll out a digital currency or a one world currency, so they're literally setting the stage. So basically like inflation or no inflation or just a word that they're projecting to make you believe that that's the case. I mean, how else can they do this global sort of plan? Like, I look at it bigger and I just go, well, when are they going to do the alien invasion? When are they going to do the cyber attack? How are they going to do this? They already started it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's.
They already have Tucker Carlson on Fox News talking about the aliens that were in the sky, and then what was the 20-second polygon? I mean, they're already doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's all. See, one thing I've realized is that you become what you consume, and there's a lot of stuff.
I'm not boring you.
Beg your pardon? No, you.
I said, no. I'm about to.
No. I'm just taking.
You're yawning, so.
No. No, I'm not yawning. I'm just relaxed. I'm real relaxed. I'm comfortable, and I'm just letting you fire away. I mean, I want to ask you the questions so you can explain to me about the blood types, and I want to touch on that. But I mean, you just started it with the whole inflation thing, so I just wanted to let you talk, and I'll just chime in because I mean,
I just asked because when people yawn, sometimes that's a thing of body language,
Yeah, well, I mean, look,
93% of communication is nonverbal. So
well, here I'll explain something to you just to get the setting right. Like I've got the backdrop on here, and I've got this hat with the peak put up. I've got my hoodie on, and I'm just chilling. Like this is your fourth visit on here. You're like one of the first people. So I'm just, when someone says like, come over and make yourself at home, I'm relaxed. You're
the next Joe Rogan, Patty.
Yeah. So I'm just listening to you, and we teed this up.
I know that you're passionate about this stuff. So, that's the only reason why I bring these logical matters.
Okay. No. Yeah. Okay. I get it. So here's the thing. So I'm doing all these breath work sort of sessions and stuff like that. And my anxiety's through the roof with all this shit that's going on in the world. So I'm trying to sort of raise my vibrations to say, and just tap into what I can only control rather than having a panic attack. So, I mean, I got passion when it comes to global events and the new world order and all this type of stuff. Like I love it, like I thrive off it, but I've been consuming it so much that, I need to just pull the eject cord. So I think today I'm just taking today as it comes, and I've just pulled the eject cord of it because I'm always just talking about it. It's yes, what you said, inflation and great reset and this and sustainability and reptilians have taken over the government. Like I'm always pumping that. So I'm just kicking back. So,
I feel you. I just, like I was watching your video on, not on YouTube, but on your Instagram And you were so funny when you were asking that girl for the paper and you were in there and you're like, I'm so fucking nervous. I'm just used to like, you know, the guy who's like shooting the arrows in people's hearts and, you know.
Yeah. No, well, it's, oh, well, you know, I live a little sort of bit of an isolated life where I don't be a part of the circus. Like I stayed home for nearly 2-3 weeks when they started this lockdown in the beginning because I didn't want to go out and be a part of the circus. I didn't want to do the mask thing. I didn't want to do the check-in. And I'm just like, I'm not being a part of it. So when you go out into the world, the real world with all of this stuff and you start to deal with it, you're just like, it's just anxiety. Like I've got my, I got my mask hit. Like this is my face shield, but I went to go to the grocery store thing. So I went to the hardware and I didn't wear it and I got away with it. And then I went to the grocery store and I started walking and I'm like, I'm just going to do the no mask thing. And then I'm like, no, I'll get the shield. And I put this on and I thought I'll just wear it and just walk through the shops, you know, whatever. It's just, you know,
you don't have to deal with it.
And then I put it over my mouth and then I'm like, I just almost had a panic attack. And I'm like, no, I can't fucking do this. I really can't do it. You know, like, you know, Delta or no Delta or big C word or no big C word, like whatever they're doing, you know, like I'm just waiting for them to roll it all out and then make the decision because I don't want to be a part of this society. I don't want to be a part of this circus. I want to go off grid. You know, I don't want to have to worry that, you know, am I going to be able to buy groceries this week while we're in a lockdown? Because as soon as I mention it here that we're in a lockdown, next minute you go down to the shop just to get some minor, like, you know, like food or, you know, go down there and get an avocado or something, a piece of steak. And next minute you just see all these large, overweight, greedy, like people running out with rolls and rolls and rolls of toilet paper. And you're just looking at it and you're like, oh my God, this is like the zombie apocalypse.
Can I say something?
Go for gold.
And I know that what we're seeing on our continent is different than what you're seeing, right? And so that's the importance of gaining awareness. But I guess that's why I still continue to maintain passion about this, because if you can light the fire under one extra few people's ass about not being greedy and recognizing the logic between all these particular situations on how, you know, now they're saying there's going to be a food shortage and there's inflation. However, you're walking around and you're seeing all these fat ass motherfuckers, you know what I mean? And nobody cared about their health prior to that as they're walking around with their mask. And whether there is a V or there's a freaking D or there's a goddamn F or an A+, I don't really give a shit, because at the end of the day, there's one thing for certain, and Lincoln did not say it correctly. He said, there's only two things in life that are guaranteed, and that's death and taxes. Well, taxes are not guaranteed, especially if you start learning things about common law. What's guaranteed is death. So the fact of the matter that everybody's running around and allowing themselves to continue the narrative, and they're worried about dying when they didn't care about their health or their friend's health or anybody else's fucking health, or driving in a car, or the radiation that the cell phones and the microwaves use, you know, that's why I still sometimes continue to be passionate about it. And I know what you mean. I don't want to deal with it either. I'm an empath. I'm an introvert. I'm probably, intellectually a little more on the level than some. And when I go out and I see it, I'm insulted by it. But, here in America, I was just in Montana. Nobody's wearing, out of 100 people, one person's wearing a mask. You go to California, though, the indoctrination runs wide, let's just say, and I can put it in two different categories, red and blue, right? Just like your little screen behind you. And, one took this pill, one took that. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't take out the fact that people like you and I who kind of look at both sides and are willing to accept both sides in some matter, right? That we need to find a good ground in the between to get out there and not run and go get off grid. Because the thing is the more people that wake up to this system are we're stronger in numbers. You know what I mean? Just like they know that we are stronger in numbers. They have gotten everybody so hypnotized by the TV and repetitiveness. And you saw that video that I sent you last night. I don't even know who that lady was, but the individual woman who's, for one, sitting there giving people health advice and her own two eyes don't even work because she's wearing glasses. And that's no offense to somebody that's wearing glasses. But I'm just saying, you know, she's saying, if you see your neighbor, do not speak to them. Yeah.
Oh, that lady. Yes. We'll go back to that. I just want to say two things. You're right in what you're saying. You know, like we can accept both sides, but I like to take a step back because it's like, although we can accept both sides, I'm not forcing my view or my opinion on others like the other side is doing. But absolutely. What my message is, we all need to fix ourselves. Not only do we need to fix ourselves, we need to clear the evil that's projecting this and that's creating and causing this. Like, I can see it with my own eyes. So my argument is not with those of the left and not those that seek the vax or those that want to wear the mask. They're not my problem. What my problem is, it's the controller, the program station that's programming them to believe a certain way. Because to me, that's the real enemy, you know, the broadcasting station. But
you have to make those people aware of who the enemy is. Otherwise, they're going to think we're the enemy.
So your Wi-Fi, are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your connection good?
Yeah, it's been great.
Okay. Am I moving or stuttering like in the screen?
Nope, you're fine. Because
throughout this whole thing, there's not a delay. Like I can hear you, but you're not the reception's not picking up as if it's emotion. Like it's like it goes and pauses. And so I just want to double check, because if we go deep in this, I want to just make sure 100% your line's good. So, you know, when you got like a smooth, you know, when you got like a clear, like your emotion, you'd like it sort of jumps and it's not, so you move and there's no flow in your movement. It jumps, if that makes sense.
Well, that's,
I'll show you. I'll record a video and I'll show you.
Because you've been perfectly fine.
Yeah, I know. I just want to show you because, I mean, look, I don't care. I'll still put it on there, but I mean, I just don't. Okay, so I'm just recording you, but you'll see. All right, so just continue as normal. Yeah, you'll see it. No, you'll see it if you keep moving. You'll get an idea. All right, I'm going to send it now.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll understand. You'll get what I'm saying. But you'll see the delay. So I'm just recording you, but you'll see. Okay, so I'm just recording you, but you'll see. But just continue as normal. You see the delay? You'll see it. Now you'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. Anyway, but it's all good. Just roll with it. So it doesn't matter because my recording and my backdrop, it's going to be all glitchy. So welcome to the Matrix. So
it's the Italian in me. I can't sit still when I talk.
No, it's not. You are still. It's just the flickering. But so are you? Where are you now? Are you been doing a bit of traveling, or you kind of you're going to be you're going to stay put there for a bit, or you're going somewhere else?
Yeah, well, That's a really good question, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
Did you say you were going to go to Miami, or you're in Miami, or you said you were in Montana yesterday, correct?
well, yeah, I was in Montana not too long ago. I've just, after being completely screwed over in California and
Mm,
being completely locked down there,
mm,
and, I mean, it really, really, I got PTSD from what happened to me there.
mm, mm,
I was working really hard on my career, and I'm a hard worker. And then the behavior that I got being in the particular location that I did, and being gang stalked by a lot of neighbors, and people coming into my home, and people knocking on my door at 9:30 at night, and then just some of the things that happened to me, and being called a criminal by a 47-year-old man who is 250 pounds, and calling the cops on me multiple times during the election because I, blah, 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 blah. And I'm a 125-pound young girl. Like, I'm not young, but I'm like 125 pounds. You know what I mean? A single mom with my daughter, and being treated that particular way, and working as hard as I did. Look, I'm not trying to, play the victim per se, but I am just much more conscientious about my community, and making sure that I don't waste my life and time putting in so much effort into a place where you're, just because of your religion or your
mm,
views or this, that, or the other, you're not going to be
mm,
accepted in them because somebody's trying to get rid of you in the middle of a pandemic because you're not paying your mortgage or your
mm,
rent because you're just not stupid. And
mm,
by law, you don't have to,
mm,
because, and people are banging on my, doors and treating me like, um, and then following me to the grocery store and like doing straight criminal activity.
mm.
And I have, plenty to prove it. I have just, I've been traveling, well, for when I got stuck in Mexico, but that was a different story. As I've been back in America, I've been a lot more conscientious about my choices and where I want to reside, because like I'm a single parent,
Mhm.
and and um
Well,
and I
so
don't,
I
you
was,
know what I mean? Like, yeah,
I,
safety, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So Florida tends to be, I'm not like, I don't subscribe to a two-party per thing, but I
yeah.
wanted to check out different places that weren't so indoctrinated in comparison to my views.
Well, I just realized then, me kind of asking not where you're going to say, but pretty much that's what I was kind of saying. But no, I understand now. Um, yeah, that of what you were saying about California and stuff. So let's not say where you're going. I just got that. I put two and two together. So yeah. Next stop,
Yeah.
Alaska. But so overall, what's the current vibe like in America? And is Joe Biden sending the military door to door to see if you're vaxxed or not vaxxed, and to stick you with a liquid solution? And then we'll get into
Okay.
that. Then we'll get into the genes, the blood types.
Yeah. So, after finally making it back into America, I have been deciding where I wanted to build Drip Alchemy, right? Meaning, hopefully, I can still be an entrepreneur, and capitalism is still part of, you know,
Mm,
America come the future. And of course, surrounding myself with a community that wants to see the benefit of me prospering as a, entrepreneur, so on and so forth. So, even though California is my residence, I have traveled a little bit looking for a different place to reside. And I have some ties in Colorado. I went to Oklahoma City because the cost of living's pretty nice there. Not real great for fashion and design. I've been in Texas. I've been in North Dakota. And I've been in Montana, and I've been in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been quite a few places, let's just say. And I will tell you this. Colorado, I was a little perplexed to see how many people had already gotten the V, and how it was kind of being pushed there, especially in that particular location, knowing that my father is a Navy SEAL and he went off grid back in the 80s. So being off grid is nothing new to me. I'm very well versed in understanding that particular lifestyle, and I respect it very much, even though, you know, I had to go do the big city thing. Again, you'll see the whole majority of individuals worried about getting sick, but they don't mind waddling around, you know, 30 pounds of weight. Okay.
Yeah. As soon as they pull that mask off, they're puffing on a cigarette.
Yeah. So you get that concept. Oklahoma, certain areas, they're pushing the vax, the V. I didn't see any military trucks. I didn't see any this, that, or the other. Mind you, there's only, I think, about 5 states in the US that are still considered constitutional carry. However, you know, we've been doing some target practice, and in Oklahoma, it was kind of odd to see at gun ranges them allow individuals to walk in wearing masks in a establishment that carries automatic weapons. Some of those things were odd. Then
can I ask you a question
please.
to chime in?
Sure.
Yeah. Since you mentioned the guns, do you feel that a lot of the sort of the left flipping America inside out and the destabilization is to send alarm bells out to the rest of the world when they broadcast it, so that then they could use not a false flag, but quite possibly a global false flag, because the Western world didn't think it was acceptable to go into the Middle East unless they had a reason, right? So when they started showing you videos of rebels and ISIS, we thought it was okay for the military to go in there and fuck shit up in Iraq and Syria and Libya, right? So what if the New World Order orchestrators sort of project to the outer world that America within inside of itself is like an extremist organization, so that they can come in and take the guns?
Oh yeah, totally.
Cool.
Because as of the last, I've never watched any of the news because there's way more pertinent things to pay attention to. But since I realized what is going on, I actually pay attention to the news more often than I'd like to admit. But all the news thing is now that in particular parts of the world, guns, somebody got shot at the MLB, the Major League Baseball event. And then there was another one. And it's really just, personally, I look at it as a staged event, right? Because a gun is an inanimable, I can never say that word, an inanimable object, right? It doesn't move unless it's picked up by a human being. So it's not the gun that's dangerous, it's the human being, right? And if people can't understand the differentiation from the two, they probably should be committed into a psych ward. I think the media is definitely pushing that. And I think what individuals in the United States, families and people who have believed throughout their whole life that they were doing something right by buying a house and getting a job and having a family, that they don't realize that America is actually one of the most, aside from being corrupt countries, it is actually one of the most indoctrinated countries, because if you leave the country and you go to Europe, you go to, South America, or you go to Mexico, most people don't really like Americans. And it's not because they don't like them in the sense of, oh, I don't like you as a person. It's more like they don't like them because they realize how fucking dumb they are to what's really going on in the world. So it's not the rest of the world that's dumb. It's America, and it's still, and it's happening now. It's everywhere. Because even like I went into Texas, because I thought Texas, was a reasonable place to, revamp, et cetera, Dallas area, overall clean, great city, no military, not a bunch of cops pulling people over for no reason. However, in certain parts of suburbs of different parts of, let's say, the Dallas Fort Worth area, you go into one area, majority of people still wearing masks. They still have their chairs stacked up on tables. And when you go in there and order a pizza and mozzarella sticks, they give you your shit to go. And you're like, can I have something and sit here? And they're like, oh yeah, but then they don't bring it. So the business owner is still hiring, individuals that are shitty service into people, right? But that's not my point. The point of it is there's still some people playing into the narrative, right? So then you go into the Montana area, where I owned a house in Montana in Bozeman, which is a beautiful little town, beautiful little mountain town. In the last, I have a house there. In the last 18 months, 16 months, whatever it is, they have, so many people have moved there. About 20,000 people have moved there. The city's completely changed. You see more out-of-state plates than you do locals, and the real estate has jumped up probably a good 16%. But did I see military there? No. And there, if out of anywhere, one person was wearing a mask. If you go into the heaves per se, one person is wearing a mask.
So do you believe Brandon O'Connell's theory of not theory, but his what he voices, do you believe that is a high possibility that this whole design is deliberate to force everybody out of California, Chicago, New York, send business south, send everyone up north, and then create these drone 5G city hubs and then force the people back in? Do you feel like that sort of seems to be not the narrative? Obviously it's not the narrative because it's not being told, but his narrative of that, do you see that could quite possibly, because, last year he was saying
sure
that
it's not being told? Have you watched Fox News lately?
I haven't been watching any. Ever since Trump got out, I only listen to Tucker Carlson and the other guy when Trump was in. I don't listen to American media no more because since Trump's been out. So
no, I understand. What's his name? He's on Fox News too.
Hannity?
No, fuck that guy.
Why? Sean Hannity's on $25 million a year.
Oh, so that means I should like him?
Tucker Carlson's on $5 million or $10 million a year.
Yeah, well, as you know, the higher you're paid, the less truth you tell.
Well,
no, he's actually a guy that I like. I like his personality. I can't remember his. Hold on.
You can't remember his Twitter handle?
No, Gunther. This guy. Hold on.
Gunther?
A bad act for you.
Hold on.
Did last night. A restaurant. I name dropped her ass in Jimicott.
This guy.
Oh, hang on. Once you
see it?
Yeah. Just click the screen again, and that play button will go. Yeah, that's it. I think so. I can just see, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so I'll send you the link, and so everybody can
Mm.
link it below, or you can link it below, and so everyone can see it. Sorry, I said that dyslexically.
Mm.
Gunfield, I believe is his last name. Yeah.
No, I know the guy now.
He actually was already talking about it on Fox News.
Mm.
How would Americans feel if America was broken up into 4 different sections? And they did a poll on it, and actually a majority of Americans were okay with it.
Mm. Well, I mean, look, I can see Australia getting broken up, and you know, I don't want to be part of the city. I want to get out a little bit and just not be so reliant on it, because it's almost to say that, like, you know, with all the Wi-Fi and internet and fiber optic cable and electrical towers and just the whole grid system itself, like, it's almost like it's now becoming not a hologram, but it's like it's becoming its own network where the power source is now tapping in to a human that's beginning to sort of project.
Yeah, they've been trying to steal the God gene for a really long time.
Yeah, like, so it's like now that it's like an augmented reality, to say, like, not a simulation, but you can just see that it's starting to become like avatar-ish. And it's like, even though it's all the 3D world and, you know, reality's real and you touch things and they, you know, you taste things and it's all there, but it's just like, it's just we're too connected, because, like, people got it. This probably sounds woo-woo, but if we've had the mobile phone or the phone in our hand for the last 20 years, like, we've always evolved, you know? So, like, how do we not know that we are evolving into our phone or into our environment? You know, like, there's different African communities that some Africans are taller because they've got long grass to hunt in, but then you've got the other sort of the tribal ones that are a lot shorter because of the whole sort of their to suit their environment. So human beings become or evolve into their environment. Now, if we're spending 90% of our time on our phone, how do we not know we're not tapping into it, whether it's collectively, subconsciously, or whatever? So, like, how do we not know that this is all just an illusion that we've projected, that we're creating this reality, you know? Like, and this is what I'm starting to become more aware of myself, where I'm trying not to consume it, and I'm trying to take a step back and not be a part of the smoke. And yeah, you know what? Look,
yeah, but how do they do it? Right. But think about what you just said. How do they conquer? What is the oldest saying in the book?
Divide.
Yeah.
I get that, but this is where it all comes down to choice, Kritanya, because like me and you understand that, we get it, but here's the thing, right? So let's say I choose to get up in the morning. That's by choice. Now, let's say I get up at 7 a.m. and let's say I have a 12-hour day, and then at 7 p.m. something frustrates me. Okay. Now, is it right for me to have an argument on something that frustrates me in the world when I chose to wake up that morning and to make that become my reality 12 hours later, right? Because I had all the choices in the world to not steer me to the direction of being at that point in time of having an issue, right? You get what I'm saying, right? So it's like, if it's all this distraction and this divide, like, are we paying attention to the divide? Like, let the sheep and the ones plugged into the system and plugged into the matrix reality example of it all, let them do it. Let them cause havoc. Let them riot. Let them cause chaos. I'm aware of it. You're aware of it. You know, like, so we're like, wow, you motherfuckers are crazy. You believe an invisible, you know what I mean? Like, you believe that mask is, you look like an idiot, you know?
Oh, I know.
Hey,
but
yeah,
I
do
personally
you know?
can't keep my mouth shut about it. Like, you know, and maybe that's like in my innate nature of being a Taurus, considering Taurus rules the jaw, you know, but like verbally when I see it. Like I saw somebody at the grocery store the other day, and I couldn't, I physically couldn't keep the words in my mouth. I said, take off the fucking mask already. Like I said it to their face, and they're like, what did you just say to me? And I said something opposite of the fucking media.
Can I just say, can I say two things without interrupting? But I don't want to lose this because I want to answer what you said.
You interrupter. I know all about you.
That's why at the beginning of this, I just took it casually. Right?
I don't care. I love you the way you are.
But you're right. You know, they are dividing us. Okay. And this is what's scary because they're separating us. But here's the thing. Are we going out looking for a masker to have a go at us to say we're wearing a mask?
No, that's why their mouth's covered, because it's a psychological reverse psychological thing.
I get that, but what I'm really trying to say is what if I'm not seeking an argument? I'm just seeking
truth,
coolness. Well, yeah, cool. Like, please just do your thing, mask people, and I'll just do my thing. Like I've come here to survive. Like, am I projecting that confrontation?
Okay, and I know what you're saying, but I'm sorry. I can't let this part go in the sense of, look, you fuckers are representing us. You know what I mean? Like, you're not only representing us, you're going to representing the future of my child. And so, you know, and then in 10 years, 20, or excuse me, I think 100 be more correctly spoken. In 100 years, this is not going to be taught to these children the way it happened. So I'm not looking for an argument either. However, I do know a lot about history, and I'm not talking about the fucking history that they taught us in the indoctrination camps from K through 12. I'm talking about real, you know, harsh history. And no wonder why history repeats itself if nobody knows the truth.
That's it.
And so it's not that I'm going out looking for a fight, or you're going out looking for a fight or a debate. Sometimes I could choose better ways to say, take off the fucking mask. Yes, I lose it. I get it. However, I feel it's our duty because we are a species. And if I don't believe in the New Age movement. The New Age movement is complete foo-foo, BS, la-di-da-da, all love and light. There's no such thing as all love and light. You better learn something about polarity, and you better learn something about, you know, the reverse dream spell, and you better learn something about the skies above, and then you better learn something about, you know, we can get into the church and the blood types and the different things like that. We'll get into that. You better start understanding, right? Especially if you're quote unquote religious. Because if you're so worried about the future of your children and your children obeying that particular religion, well, you believe in your community, right? So you better start talking, meaning you better start worrying about the future of where the community's going. So I say that outside of religion, of course, because religion is definitely not something that is it's a 401(c), but we'll get into that. We as humans, 10 fingers, 10 toes, a liver, a kidney, right? We all have them. We need to, you know, steer our creation in the right direction.
Okay, let's go into creation then, okay?
Oh boy.
Okay. So there was a man and his name was Adam. And then there was a woman named Eve, right?
And
then one day here, you know, it's like the argument, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's like to say, well, what come first? Really. The fucking baby or the woman?
Knows. Nobody really knows, because the thing is Cro-Magnums, and I'm going to use these terms lightly, but I'll tell you exactly. Now we'll
Okay.
get into the blood. We'll get into the blood type things, and
Okay.
I will use the word gods and humans loosely, but please refer to them as terms so you can understand that they are referred to as two different things.
All right, hold that thought. I'm just going to pause it. I'm going to fill this up because I'm interested in this, and we'll fire away. So this is where we're going to take it. So wait one sec. I'll be a couple of seconds.